The final cut is a masterpiece, but the first draft is a war zone. This is between the frames. Today, the villain. The scene is 10 minutes long. A farmhouse in occupied France. 1941, a French farmer stands in his kitchen, hands trembling slightly. He hears a car approach, then voices, then boots on the ground outside. The door opens. A man in an SS uniform enters. He is polite. He apologizes for the intrusion. He asks for a glass of milk. His name is Hans Landa. The Jews in the region call him something else. The Jew Hunter. What happens next is the most terrifying opening scene in modern cinema. Not because of violence. There is almost none. Not because of shouting. Everyone is perfectly calm. It's terrifying because of what Landa does with language. He speaks French to the farmer. Perfect French. Then he switches to English, because he knows the farmer understands. Then he circles back to French. He's not just speaking. He's playing. He's showing the farmer, I know what you know. I know more than you know. And I am enjoying this. The philosophy. Hans Landa believes in efficiency, not cruelty for its own sake. He tells the farmer, I don't like to think of myself as a detective. I think of myself as a hunter. There's a difference. A detective catches someone red-handed. A hunter tracks something that doesn't want to be found. In his mind, he's just good at his job. The best. And the best deserve to enjoy their work. Landa's philosophy isn't just about efficiency, it's about mastery. He doesn't just want to catch his prey. He wants to understand them, to dissect their hopes and fears, to play with them before the inevitable. This isn't the cold, calculating evil of a machine. It's the refined, almost artistic evil of a predator who savors the hunt. He sees himself as an intellectual, a connoisseur of human weakness, and his job as a grand intellectual exercise. The Jew Hunter moniker isn't just a title. It's a badge of honor he wears with perverse pride, signifying his unique skill set in a world he perceives as full of lesser minds. His methods are a twisted form of scientific inquiry, observing reactions, testing boundaries, and ultimately, proving his own superior intellect. This detachment allows him to commit unspeakable acts without a flicker of remorse, because to him, it's merely a problem to be solved, a game to be won. Quentin Tarantino wrote Landa with a specific goal: create a villain who speaks 4 languages and uses each one as a weapon. French for charm, English for menace, German for authority, and at the end, Italian, badly, for comedy. Because even villains have blind spots. The magnetism, why can't we look away? First, Christoph Waltz. The performance is so good it won him an Oscar in a language that isn't his first. He smiles. He's gracious. He offers the farmer a pipe. He compliments the milk. And underneath every word is the knowledge that he could end this man's life whenever he chooses. Beyond Waltz's Oscar-winning portrayal, Landa's magnetism stems from his absolute control. He controls the conversation, the emotional temperature of the room, and ultimately, the fate of those around him. Consider the strudel scene with Shosanna. He offers her a dessert, engages in polite conversation, yet every word, every gesture, is a calculated move in his psychological chess match. The seemingly innocuous questions about her past, the lingering gaze, the sudden shift to a more direct, yet still calm, line of questioning, it's all designed to disarm, to probe, to expose. This mastery of psychological warfare, combined with his impeccable manners, creates a chilling juxtaposition that is utterly captivating. We are drawn to the spectacle of a mind so sharp, so utterly devoid of conventional morality, operating at peak performance. Second, the calm. Landa never raises his voice. He never threatens directly. He simply lays out the logic. You're hiding Jews under your floorboards. I know this. You know I know this. The only question is whether you'll admit it and die quickly, or make me find them and die slowly. He gives the farmer a choice that isn't a choice. That's power. Third, the game. Landa doesn't just want to win. He wants to play. He wants the farmer to understand how thoroughly he's been outmaneuvered. He wants to see the moment the hope drains from his eyes. That's what makes him magnetic. He's enjoying himself. And we can't stop watching because we're waiting for someone, anyone, to wipe the smile off his face. The crack. But Landa has a flaw. The same flaw many great villains share: arrogance. He plays games because he believes he'll always win. He toys with people because he's never met anyone who could toy back. Until the end of the film. Spoilers for a 15-year-old movie. Landa makes a deal with the Allies. He'll let the plot against Hitler succeed in exchange for immunity. He thinks he's won. Again. But the leader of the bastard, Aldo Rain, has one condition. Before Landa walks free, Aldo carves a swastika into his forehead with a knife. So that for the rest of his life, every time Landa looks in a mirror, he'll see what he is. Landa's crack is his belief that he's above it all, that his cleverness will always protect him. But cleverness doesn't stop a knife, and it doesn't erase a mark that lasts forever. The irony is profound. The man who prides himself on his intellectual superiority is ultimately brought down by a primal act of vengeance, a physical mark that no amount of linguistic dexterity or strategic maneuvering can erase. His arrogance blinds him to the raw, visceral power of human emotion and retribution, a force he consistently underestimates in his victims and adversaries alike. This final, brutal act serves as a stark reminder that even the most cunning intellect can be undone by a simple, unyielding will. The mirror. What does Hans Landa reveal about us? He reveals that we are drawn to competence, even when it's evil. We admire the person who is the best at what they do, even if what they do is hunt Jews. We lean in when he speaks. We appreciate his intelligence, his charm, his patience. And that's uncomfortable. Landa forces us to ask, if evil were this charming, this competent, this enjoyable to watch, would we recognize it? Or would we drink the milk and nod along? This question lingers long after the credits roll, challenging our perceptions of good and evil. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that our admiration for skill and charisma can sometimes override our moral compass, making us complicit observers in the face of calculated malevolence. He is a mirror reflecting our own potential for fascination with the forbidden, the dangerous, and the intellectually superior, even when it serves a horrific purpose. Tarantino doesn't let us off the hook. He makes Landa the most interesting person in every scene. Then he carves a swastika into his forehead and reminds us, interesting isn't the same as good. There's a moment early in that farmhouse scene. Landa lights his pipe. He asks about the farmer's daughters. He compliments the milk again. And then, casually, he asks for a closer look at the floorboards. The farmer's face goes pale. Landa sees it, smiles, and says, I didn't need to see under the floorboards. I just needed to see your face. That's Hans Landa. He doesn't need evidence. He needs your reaction. He reads you the way you read a book, and he enjoys turning the pages. The lesson for filmmakers: villains are most terrifying when they're relatable, when they have manners, when they compliment the milk, when they speak your language better than you do. Evil in movies is often loud, monstrous, easy to hate, but real evil, the kind that lingers, is polite. It asks permission. It drinks milk and smokes a pipe while deciding whether you'll live or die. For filmmakers, Landa offers a masterclass in crafting antagonists that resonate deeply. Avoid the cliché of the snarling, one-dimensional monster. Instead, imbue your villains with intelligence, charm, and a twisted sense of logic. Make them articulate, even seductive, in their pursuit of their goals. The true horror lies not in their outward monstrosity, but in their chilling humanity, their ability to blend seamlessly into society while harboring the darkest intentions. A villain like Landa forces the audience to engage on an intellectual and emotional level, making their eventual defeat all the more satisfying and their presence all the more memorable. Hans Landa is unforgettable because he reminds us, the worst people don't always look like monsters. Sometimes they look like someone you'd share a glass of milk with, and you wouldn't know until it was too late. The best villains aren't obstacles, they're mirrors. Next time, another villain who shows us something we didn't want to see. Anton Chigurh, the man with the coin and no name. Subscribe and hit the playlist so you don't miss it.